Mayor Gregory Dedrick of Crestwood is present for betraying his own constituents. He confesses that, 10 years ago, he flooded Old Crestwood to kill refugees and villagers touched by the Blight. The mayor claims it was to spare the rest of Crestwood, but we only have his word.
He's pleading guilty while claiming he's not. Which is it?
There's no cure for the Blight. But I couldn't convince anyone to leave a sick child or husband behind.
So you herded the infected into one place and flooded Old Crestwood? Were no innocents caught in the waters?
Nearly everyone in the village had the Blight. I swear it. Have mercy. I couldn't tell the survivors I'd drowned their own families to save them. I couldn't.
You committed murder on Ferelden's soil. Let them deal with your punishment. Send him to Denerim. He can live the rest of his life behind their bars.
In prison? Maker. I should have drowned with them.
First, this wasn't my idea. It is an issue born of titles and heir apparency and... Halam Shiral is having difficulty freeing trade routes formerly controlled by Duchess Florian. Had she been tried, her assets would be forfeit and considerable bureaucracy avoided. So they ask that we judge her.
Are you serious? I did my part. She's dead.
That was the time allotted for rebuttal. Her crimes negated any claim to... Forgive me, there is an odor.
I call for rehabilitation. The skull shall do public theater about the evils of evil. I also judge the box. End table for orphans.
That's quite enough, Inquisitor. Point taken. How bracing to be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was en masse, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
No one can say the evening wasn't memorable.
No, I should think not. I must confess, when Celine was killed, my first reaction wasn't sorrow. It was disappointment. How could the Empress of Orlais be taken in by the Duchess's plot?
Celine sacrificed her safety to her politics.
The blade at her back certainly proved sharper than the knives at her throat. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
At least all this tedious maneuvering got us something.
Tedious maneuvering caused the death of an Empress, Inquisitor. I fear we won't fully see the outcome of this action for years. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
Let's speak later.
Goodbye.
I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
Carry on.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You miss court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Gaspard should be a steadfast ally, especially after delivering him both Celine and Briala.
Briala brought it on herself, Solus. I did what had to be done.
All right. Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
If she were more admirable, she wouldn't have failed.
The world at large will judge her on success or failure alone. We who knew her, even briefly, have the luxury of looking deeper, to judge her strengths and flaws, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. An empress dead, her replacement in your pocket. A charming fellow, though still a bit of a thug. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you'd like to do more often, then?
Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there.
No? Why not?
Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a ball. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
I should go.
You know where I'll be.
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Why does the Divine need a successor? Who cares if her throne is empty?
If there's no Divine, there is no Chantry. Perhaps that is your wish. You may not think much of the Chantry Inquisitor, but we need it. You think Thedas hates mages now? If the Chantry falls, don't you think the people will blame magic? Look at all that's happened. Kirkwall's Chantry, the war, the breach. Mages are always involved. Without the Chantry to guide, that hatred will spiral out of control.
No, we don't want that.
And the Chantry can see that it doesn't happen. The people are sheep, Inquisitor. They need to follow. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new Divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia.
Dead people usually don't send messages.
And I see you feel it necessary to inform me of this. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
You're not leaving. Get someone else to go on your treasure hunt.
I would prefer to take this task personally. And I was hoping you would agree to come with me. Will you at least consider it? One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay.